Happy New Year to you. So at this time, I will call our January 14, 2025 council meeting to order. And I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Here.
Mr. Chambers,
Here.
Ms. Shinholster,
Here.
Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Mrs. Walden,
Here.
Ms. Mapp.
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum present and can continue with the meeting. So if you will, please stand with me for the prayer and pledge. Most gracious Father, we thank you on tonight for allowing us to see a new year, allowing us to be on this dais to continue the work for the people. As we work into this New Year's budget and New Year's business, we ask that you be with us, keep us all on one accord, keep us with the same mind. Continue to be with our constituents as we work towards making sure that their community is safe and is a better place for them to stay. So as we continue to thank you, Lord God, we just ask you to be with us and to guide us on tonight in this meeting. Have your way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this time we're going to get ready to go into our public comments. Ms. Hill, I think you're here to talk about the banners, right? So you're gonna be a little further on down in Mr. Simmons' places. I have him listed at another area. So at this time, I'm gonna ask Miss Allison Hughes and Laura Salafas, if you will take the podium and give us your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Laura Palafis. I don't live in the county, but my address, I work in the county. I work for the Georgia War Veterans Home, so I'll give you that as my address. It's 2249 Vincent Highway.
I already gave it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just
Okay, I wasn't even sure. Okay. We're here today. Basically, we're here today to invite you, actually. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and Allison is the case manager with drug court here in Baldwin County. And our goal is to invite you to our listening session, which is going to be on February 10th. And what we are doing is we are working with the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse with the goal to start what we call a RCO, or a recovery community organization. And I'm going to let Allison explain what that is.
Recovery Community Organization is a nonprofit organization, and it's governed by peers for peers, but the purpose is to provide recovery resources to those seeking recovery or actively still struggling with addiction. We also provide education and we host all recovery meetings, and we like to connect with other nonprofits who are already serving this population to be that bridge for the services to help if they come in for services and then they need those. One of the key components is that you need to be a certified peer specialist in order to operate the RCO, and I am a care specialist. I'm also a forensic peer mentor, which means I have lived experience in both recovery and I've been justice involved, the criminal justice system, which has given me a passion to helping with that specific population and bring more recovery resources that we're lacking in the area.
And one of our ultimate goals is to actually have a physical location. Again, it's a 5013C. There are several in the state already, and the goal is to have what we call, we'll call it a recovery clubhouse, but we could call it whatever we wanted. The goal is to have a place for people to come, a sober place to be connected to individuals, to have resources, to have a food pantry. One of the things that really hit me was when I heard a story, I've only been with the drug court for a short while, was when I heard a story of a woman being homeless here. Sorry, it touched me. And she was living under porches. And she would beg just to have time to wash her clothes or just to be able to have a place to sleep. And we don't think that this happens here, but it happens everywhere. And we are the #1 country of substances, of illegal substances in the world. And we're in between Macon. There's an RCO in Macon, and there's an RCO in Athens, and there's an RCO in Walton. And everybody in between does not have that. And being a rural population, we need that. Even though we're in the little city here, or a bigger city here, I'm from Putnam, and there's no resources there. So our goal is to hit the surrounding counties as well, have a transportation van, all those things that we can do. The listening session goal is for people to bring their ideas on that day of what they think our needs are. Thank you. Thank you. Can I hand these out to you, or?
Yes, please.
Can you repeat the date and time and the
Yes, ma'am.
location?
It'll be on this, but it is actually going to be on Monday, February 10th at 5:30. It's actually going to be hosted at the Georgia War Veterans Home. That is my full-time employment. And so Russell Fagan was nice enough to grant me that ability. It will be in the rec hall. It will be in the, it's called the, I can't remember the name now. It's in the back of the building, the Birdsong Rec Hall. And I will have signs out. But we hope you'll come.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming and sharing that information with us. It is much needed in our community. Next, we have on the public comments is Mr. Matt Rossing. Mr. Matt, come on up.
Thank you, Council. My name is Matt Ressing, 248 Swint Avenue, and I want to talk about the Central State Hospital Local Redevelopment Authority. I've had an office out on the Central State campus for about 10 years now. I've watched the authority from the beginning. In the last few years, it's been a slow-moving train wreck, and it has now officially gone off the rails, and is something that deserves your attention. The entire point of the Central State Hospital Redevelopment Authority was to sell state property for job creation, to redevelop the campus to benefit the people who lost their jobs when Central State Hospital closed. That's not just an aspiration, it's in the actual statute that created the authority. They have the power to transfer property for purposes of job creation. From this Thanksgiving until the end of this last year, they have sold off a significant number of their assets, a lot of their major assets. And the purchasers of those assets did not submit any job creation estimates. Many of them did not submit any proposal for what they intended to do with the properties at all. The Binion Building, the Walker Building, the Green Building, the Jones Building, the Men's Prison, and the Rivers Prison. Hundreds of thousands of square feet, maybe millions of square feet, hundreds of acres were sold off with no plan at all about how this will create jobs or help the local community. This is not just a problem. In my view, this is illegal. Many of these deals have gone to a single person by the name of Ken Singh, a foreign investor who buys them through a corporation. His corporation is known as Nomali Incorporated. That's the name that was on the contracts for the Binion building and the men's prison. Supposedly a Florida corporation based in Fort Lauderdale. Well, guess what? It doesn't exist. I looked up the Florida business records for corporations. There is no Nomali Incorporated register in Florida. They sold these buildings to a corporation that didn't exist. They didn't even check, with no plan. The only thing he said he was going to do at the Binion building is create housing for veterans, which would be a wonderful plan if it's true. How's he going to do that? When's he going to do that? How's he going to pay for it? What are the plans? Has he talked to the Georgia War Veterans Home? No. None of this. And they sold it off anyway. Other people were turned away. People that were interested in that building were told, no, it's not for sale. And then it was essentially handed to this one particular investor. This was done by former chairman Johnny Grant and the real estate agent that he has been working with. Mary DeMaine, executive director out there, first female executive director, first woman of color in the position. She has been completely ignored and run around. She is supposed to be in charge of the real estate deals. They did not let her have any part of it. She objected to these deals. She thought they were immoral and illegal, and Johnny Grant threatened to fire her if she didn't sign them. That is also illegal. I beg that you pay attention to this important community issue. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Rossi. All right. So that concludes our public comments. We'll move on into our agenda for tonight. You all have received a copy of the December 10th, 2024 council meeting minutes. Are there any corrections that need to be made? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Dr. Lee. Mr. Chambers.
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mrs. Walden. Mrs. Mapp.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries and the minutes are adopted. And this time tonight, we have two proclamations, and so what I'm gonna do is come to the front because they're not listed. I did get approval to be able to go ahead and just put this under the mayor's comments for tonight. So I'm gonna come to the front. Ms. Courtney, the other group, do you know if they're here or not? What's the group?
It was Michael Snowden with National Racial.
Oh, okay, that's another day. Okay. I spoke with the city manager and, mentioned it to our attorney to get permission to do this. So I didn't just go off the radar and do it, but I thought it was more than fitting for us. There were a number of celebrations for him this weekend that I, as the mayor, wasn't aware of and didn't get a chance to attend. But tonight I want to present a proclamation to one of our very own that has been working in this community since he was a young man. I shared with him that his house was our candy house. It's where when we got out of school, we always went and got our snacks. So I'm going to ask Chief Young to come up, if you will, so that I can present him with a proclamation from the city of Milledgeville. We're so thankful for your contributions to this community. And it reads, whereas we are here today to express our appreciation to Fire Chief Victor Young and honor him for his distinguished 35-year career with the Baldwin County Fire Safety and Rescue, and to dedicate services to the residents of Milledgeville, Baldwin, and surrounding counties. Whereas Chief Young has began his career with the Baldwin County Fire Department on December the 5th, 1989, and has served as fire chief since November 5th, 2019. And whereas Chief Young served as the county's first African-American fire chief. He was the project oversight coordinator for the restoration of the 1948 fire truck. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. Obtained and compiled the department's history with a commemorative yearbook and organized the Explorer program. He also oversaw the training of new firefighters for Baldwin County, the city of Milledgeville, Hancock, and Jones County. And whereas Chief Young's service extends beyond the Baldwin County Fire Rescue, he is a member of the Georgia Fire Chiefs Association, Georgia Firefighter Association, serving as district representative, as well as a leadership Baldwin Community and Schools and Youth Advisory Council with the Department of Juvenile Justice. And whereas over his 35 years of employment, Chief Young has displayed the highest example of character, ethics, morals, and unselfish service. And whereas on the behalf of the entire City Council, I want to express our sincere appreciation to Victor for his loyalty to the city of Milledgeville and wish him much happiness as he begins this exciting new chapter in his life. And now, therefore, I, Mary Palm Copeland, of the city of Milledgeville, do hereby proclaim Friday, January the 14th, that was the day they actually gave you your retirement, 2025, as Fire Chief Victor Young Day. And I encourage all citizens to join me in congratulating Chief Young on an outstanding career with the Baldwin County Fire and Rescue, and in wishing him many continued years of happiness and good health. So proud to present this to you, Chief Young. Thank you for your service. By the city manager, what did he do this morning? He said he thought his wife woke him up. So we're happy to present this to him today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank this Milledgeville City Council. This is definitely an honor. And I actually worked for the city of Milledgeville about 8 or 9 years in a part-time basis. And I have met a lot of good friends here, and doing my leadership Baldwin, you know, I met my brother here, and I appreciate you. We had a great time together. Hank, we volunteered together so many years. We had a lot of good times on the fire truck. And you know, the late Boo Mullins, he taught me a lot when I first got into fire service. And I am so honored for everyone, with my guys being with me, Chief Adams, Chief Knight, Chief Waller, and the crew, and my uncle, my wife, my mother-in-law, and I just thank the citizens of Milledgeville, Baldwin County. You know, I did what I did for you guys. It wasn't about me. I want to make sure I serve our county and our city and make you guys proud. And God bless all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Job well done. Well done. Can't say enough about this young man. Ms. Walden told me tonight that her son did about 30-some years. So, Ms. Walden,
He even more than
I must go back and recognize him for his contribution as well. The other proclamation is something that will be done away on site at Georgia College and State University. Are there any college students here tonight from Georgia College and State University? Oh, okay. I tell you, I was wondering today that we have a slew of new freshmen or something in town, because you couldn't hardly get through town this morning, but I'm glad to have them here. At this time, I spoke with Mr. Griffin in reference to the banners for February, and so it's not on the agenda, but he asked me to have Mr. Simmons and Ms. Hill come to just bring it back up to council, because we did not put it in a resolution form when they came the last time. We just kind of discussed it and gave them permission to do it. So tonight, Ms. Hill is going to come and present again in reference to it, so that it can give them a whole full month from February in recognizing the African American people that they're going to put on the banners this time around. And so, Mr. Griffin, I'm going to let you share that other piece you told me once she finished. Okay. All right. Go.
Hello. For those of you that do not know who I am, I'm Beverly Lundy Hill. I'm a citizen here in Baldwin County. Have been a citizen here, even though I'm from Hancock. I love Hancock. But I have been a citizen here for over 30 years. A couple of years ago, well, I'll say 14 years ago, I started researching both Hancock County and Baldwin County history, but I didn't want to do the surface. I wanted to go deep down into the missing and unknown history of Baldwin County, especially the African American history. And on that trip, I found so much unknown, untold history. But also, we had people that were in our current day that were making history. And so I partnered with Mr. Harold Simmons because I knew that he knew his community even more than I did. And I needed to come to you all to share this information. So I came before the board last year and asked if we could place these historical banners of people that had done great and historical things in Baldwin County, or they were from Baldwin County. So that's what you saw last year in February, the Black History banners. Now I brought one with me because this is what it looked like last year. And this young lady, even though her family is from Sparta, she was born and raised in Baldwin County. And she was the first black nurse in 1920 to become licensed. And she would not become licensed through the state unless they licensed every black nurse in the state. And she paved the way for every black nurse to be licensed in 1920. Okay? So this year, I come back before the board because I have new names and new faces, and as a matter of fact, the chief will be on the banner. The first name on the list when we started, so you will be honored and be on the banner. Okay, but also this year we're only going to do about 25 banners, and the banners are $100. I have sponsorship. People sponsor. If anyone would like to personally sponsor a banner, please get with me and we can make that happen. But during last year, this was so successful. It was really successful, and I got calls from Atlanta, and so I'm writing some things on Baldwin County. They want me to do a documentary on Baldwin County, so we're going to be looking into doing that, and I'm going to be needing people from the community to help me plug in the information and make sure we get everything done correctly, okay? But I found a secret in Baldwin County that involves the Smithsonian, that involves the High Museum, and a couple of more museums. And I'm going to be working with my ex-boss, who is Kathy Cox. She and I have spoke. And we're going to see, can we work with the Smithsonian to see, can we bring those things back that are hidden in the Smithsonian back to Milledgeville so we can have an exhibit this year. Okay? So I can't tell it right now. It's a secret. But I thank you all for giving me that opportunity last year, and I'm going to do great this year, and we're going to pull them up for a whole month, and I hope that I honor everyone and their family in the city of Milledgeville and Baldwin County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And so I will need to get with you for sponsorship. Mr. Griffith, did you want to tell the other piece that you were talking about this morning, or you want to hold that?
Well, yeah, one of the things that we've been working on with that is we had a number of the banner brackets that needed to be replaced, and we made those work last year, but we have spent the money to actually have new brackets created by a local welder, and they'll be installed, and so you'll have something a little bit better to hang them on in the coming year. We'll do just like we did last year. You or Mr. Simmons or whoever can contact me, and I'll put you in touch with Public Works, and we'll have a morning of hanging. And based on my over 30 years of fighting fire with Chief Young, I'd like to go on record as saying I would like to personally sponsor Chief Young's banner. So I'll make sure you get a check for that.
So I guess since we didn't officially take a vote on it, Mr. Jordan and basically Mr. Griffin wanted her to come back to council so that either we're gonna put this in resolution form that they can do it on a continuous basis, or would we need to bring it back and do it on another agenda? But to allow them to go forth with it now, this month.
To hang the banners?
Mm-hmm. Right, we didn't do we just kinda gave them permission, and what I had them to do to pull the, minutes, and we didn't do a resolution saying they could continue to do it without council permission.
Yeah, unless there's some objection among council, the city manager can
Okay.
authorize.
Okay, well, he has authorized that, so that's that. Okay.
There you go.
That's that.
Sounds like he's already authorized for it.
Absolutely. All right, so, at this time, we'll move to the city manager's report, and I'll recognize Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start out by introducing a new face on the dais. She is not a new face to the city, but she is a new face on the dais, and that's Miss Jackie Hewley. You all approved a budget amendment that included a reclassification of Jackie's position from procurement coordinator to procurement manager. But more importantly to me and Courtney, that budget amendment also allowed me to name Miss Hewley as deputy clerk. So we're happy to have Jackie in her new role on the dais tonight. She's going to hit the ground running at clerk's training at Jekyll in February. And the only thing that I have seen is that I hadn't been able to feed her information fast enough. She emails me about every other day, what do you want me to do? And so I'm excited to have her in that role. Y'all know Jackie's been with the city many, many, many years. And I have said to Jackie and to other people in executive staff that I wish I had 100 Jackies. And, because if we had 100 Jackies, that's probably all the employees we would need at the city of Milledgeville, because everything would get done. But I'm excited to have her in that role. Jackie, thank you for being willing to take that on, and Courtney and I look forward to working with you in that role.
Mr. Griffin, she has made already how many years with us at the city? 30.
I would not even. She's gonna have to tell you that. I don't.
April will be 42.
42. I thought it was 42.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
She started when she was 7.
She was born here. In City Hall. Makes you 42, don't it, bud?
She's one of the reasons that every time Mr. Chambers says something about the pension committee approving folks retiring at 60 and taking their insurance with them, I try to talk him off the ledge, because I'm afraid that time would come with Jackie. And as I said, I want to keep her working. But, so. Jackie does a lot of things. In addition to procurement, she heads up our Relay for Life committee and team every year. Does a wonderful job at that. She coordinates and manages our safety training for the city. She can put on a heck of a breakfast for Christmas, and she just, if you need it done, Jackie's there to do it, and I'm appreciative of that. She actually pushes me a little bit every now and then if I don't get her a receipt fast enough.
All of
I'm
us.
off on a purchase order fast enough.
I know well.
But I try to get her what she needs, and I tell her I love her in the process, and that helps a little bit. So. I want to go over some redistricting information that you had at your desk on the place on the dais when you came in. You all know that based on the last census, we need to do redistricting for the voter districts. We have kind of started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped a couple of times with the regional commission, but based on the fact that 2025 is an election year for city council and for mayor, we need to get this done. I want to go through what you have in front of you and then put forth a plan for us to try to get this wrapped up. And in telling you what you have in front of you, I will be reminding you of some things and then telling you some other things that are new. The first packet that you have is a 3 sheet packet. And the way those are stapled together, it's actually in kind of reverse chronological order. What you have on the top sheet is basically where we are in the process now with what the Regional Commission has called Plan 1. You'll see that the total population is listed there. And then the deviation for the population in the districts is put there. What we're looking for is a deviation of 0. And you see that we've got some work to do on that. But Plan 1 is what the Regional Commission somewhat put together after we met with them in October of 2023. The second sheet is Plan 0, which is what the districts were based on the new census numbers before any lines were moved or changed. And you can see with both of those, the target is to try to get a district as close to 2,466 people in population. So that's the number to kind of keep in the back of your head that we're trying to get to. The next sheet is just a drill down of Plan 0 from a redistricting formula standpoint. So you can see that before any lines were moved after the 2020 census numbers were certified, you can see what the population per district pre-redistricting was on that sheet. And the map that's attached to it is actually what the voter districts were at that point in time, and actually are still what they are now. Your third set of documents is a drill down of Plan number 1 with just some draft movements of some of the lines to try to get things back closer to that 2,466 target population per district. But you can see that in District 1 and District 2, and just a few in District 5, we've got a lot of people to make up. And you can see that District 4 is the one that has the greatest number of people in it and the highest deviation number. So basically, we've got to look at ways to, for lack of a better term, rob people from District 4 and put them into District 1, 2, and 5. I think when it's all said and done, District 3 and District 6 will probably be okay with where they are in terms of the number. But we may need to adjust even those two districts a little bit to be able to get some additional folks to District 1 and to District 2. The few draft changes that have been made thus far that created Plan 1, the attached map to that shows what that will look like. And what I would encourage you to do is compare the map of Plan 0 and the map of Plan 1, and you will see that there's not been a whole lot of changes, but there have been some. Now, the sticker to all of this is that you have to move entire census districts, and the census districts have to be contiguous to the district that you're moving into, or you have to have contiguous tracts leading to the district. So I have been given an app by the Regional Commission that has the information on it for the districts. It'd be coming up here. If you'll take a look on your screen, you'll see it there. That what you see there is is the districts as they're currently drawn in Plan 1. But you'll notice as I drill down into those districts that I'm able to put census block information in there, and that way we will be able to see what the population is in those census blocks, to see who we might, or what block we might be able to move where in order to do what needs to be done. What I would like to do is for us to have a called work session next Tuesday on the 21st to try to see if we can get this as close as we can, and then go over and meet with the Regional Commission from 3 to 5 on the 22nd to try to get this thing finalized. One of the things that will help us at the Regional Commission is they can take this app that you see here, and they can actually move the lines on the app and see what that does for the numbers. We'll have to just do it longhand. I plan, if we do that work session next week, to come to you with some census tracts that could be moved in the districts that they could be moved in, to discuss with you all about those possibilities. What you have in your packet remaining, with the exception of the mayor, is you have your district map based on Plan 1. So you can look at your individual map. That should be the last thing that you have in your packet of information. You can look at what your map looks like with Plan 1, and it's just an exploded view of your district to take a look at that. But I would like to request that we do that work session next week. I actually shared with you all in my weekly report that since the weather hampered our planning session this past Saturday, I would like to meet on our alternate Tuesdays, which would be the 21st for next week, and then the alternate Tuesdays in February for continued planning for the coming year. And we can, if that works for everybody, we can go ahead and send out announcements about the called work sessions for those. But that's what's happening with redistricting. Please take a look at it between now and next Tuesday if you all are agreeable to meeting next Tuesday. And if you want to come up and I'll pull the app and let you play with the districts and see what they are, we'll certainly do that. You're welcome to do that before next Tuesday, but I'm going to try to have some identified between now and then that have the potential for being moved.
What time you going to meet on January?
5:30. If
So we're just looking at the 21st and not the 21st and 22nd?
we are looking for the 21st here and the 22nd at the Regional Commission in Macon. Any questions about any of the redistricting documents that you have? As you work through them, as you look at them, please let me know if you have any questions. And hopefully we can, that's all I plan to tackle next Tuesday night. Because if we can get that done, we will have had a good night's work. And hopefully we can get to the Regional Commission and get it finalized on the 22nd. I also want to take a few minutes to discuss, I've already shared some information with y'all on it, but just to reiterate what I shared with you and see if anybody has any questions on the amendment to the intergovernmental agreement for the operations services and funding of the library services. If y'all remember when we were going through the service delivery strategy negotiations, one of the things that had been identified by some contract attorneys with the city was what appeared to be some general fund revenues that were used for the water and sewer system in the county. There was an argument about whether that it was or was not allowed, but the bottom line was what ended up happening with that as part of the negotiation is the people of our community were able to reap the benefits of that as it relates to the library services within our entire community. What happened was, if you remember, $96,000 per year was to be set aside by the county into a library capital improvement fund, and the city would receive or could utilize 75% of that, and the county would utilize 25% of that. That money did not come to the city, but at least from a spreadsheet standpoint, and I think from a practical standpoint, the county had been setting that money aside for the library capital improvement fund. And when the design for the Mary Vinson Library building came in, as with the case with everything since COVID, it seems like, and Will's going to be here in a minute to tell us, and he probably finds himself dealing with this every day, things wind up being about 50% more than you expect them to be. The initial design was anticipated that it would be about $1 million renovation. It came back at about a little over $1.4 million. The library system received $950,000 of money of a grant from the state that could be used for that. And then since the Mary Vinson Library building belongs to the city, it kind of became incumbent upon the city to be able to fund the remainder of that. In trying to figure out how to do that, Will and I talked a lot on the phone. Neil Dyer called me a lot on the phone because he was the one that got the contract. And we were looking at ways to possibly value engineer the design work, and it was just all so good. There was nothing that we really wanted to take off. And so I thought about the Capital Improvement Library Fund, and contacted the county manager, and between emails with me and him and Ms. Hudson at the county and the county attorney, they basically gave verbal approval to provide us a one-time payout of $550,000 from that capital improvement fund, which is about twice what should be in it by this point in time. And in doing so, we would leave somewhere between $125,000 and $140,000 on the table, because they asked if they did that the agreement would be that had taken care of their requirement as that part of the service delivery strategy negotiations. So the county attorney put together the draft amendment to the IGA. They needed to change one thing. They had not put in there a one-time payout of $550,000, so I asked them to include that, and they did. Once I got that, I shared it with Mr. Jordan. He vetted it from a legal and a service delivery standpoint, and he said it was fine. And so it's being brought to you tonight to request that you approve a resolution. The county has verbally approved it. The library board has verbally approved it. They will both sign off on it, provided you all approve it, and the mayor signs off on it based on the approval of the resolution tonight. I can't think of anything better to use this money for than renovations of the Mary Vinson Library building. I was thinking back, at least in the history that I'm aware of, the city has not done a lot to that building with the exception of replace the air conditioning system in it about 3 years ago, I think now. So it's time for some remodeling. If you all approve that, then the next resolution that you'll be voting on tonight will be the approval of Dyer Construction as the contractor. As I mentioned to you in the information that I sent you yesterday, Ms. Hewley and Mr. Stadford sent out bid requests. There were two bidders, and Dyer was the lower bidder by about $103,000. We have been talking to Mr. Dyer. He has confirmed that the prices for the subs that came in on that bid are still accurate. They can still do the work for the price that was on the contract. And I want to wrap up my report tonight by asking Will Stanford to come up. Will is a lead green associate with BTBB Incorporated Architects, who are the designers of the renovations, to share with you what those renovations will look like and answer any questions that you might have. The city did have a representative on the committee as these designs were going through. Our chief of staff, Ms. Hilson Butts, served in that role and kept me apprised of what was going on, along with Mark Bronstead from the library system. So, Will, I'm gonna pull the plans up, and you just share with them what you want to in terms of the design work.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I want to thank Hank for letting me speak. This is an abbreviated set. There's probably 90-something drawings in the set, but I just provided for you the plans and elevations of what we came up with for bid and what's presented to you tonight. I want to take a brief minute. Mr. Griffith did cover some of the background of the project, but the building was originally designed in 1985 by Holiday Couch Hollis and Jelks Architects in Macon. They're no longer a firm, but they were known for their mid-century modern aesthetic, and you can tell that by the building, how it looks today. It took about 2 years to construct, and the building, so it served you since about 1987, which doesn't sound like a long time ago. It's starting to sound like a lot, a lot more. And he mentioned an HVAC renovation a few years ago. There was also a modest renovation upgrade in 1996 per my records. The building's 2 stories, about 18,900 square feet. And the first floor contains main circulation desks, staff workspace, children's services, including a puppet theater and teen collection. And while the adult services, a computer lab, local history room, and staff offices and other support spaces are on the second floor. I began meeting with the building committee in mid-2023 to discuss their goals for the project, and by late 2023 we had a plan effectively of what is before you today. Knowing that there were budget constraints, especially after COVID with pricing, we had some design options that we had priced out during 2024 with the contractor before it went to bid. One of those was an entrance. Well, the main design criteria was to move the entrance. That was the biggest idea, to the front of the parking lot side of the building, the short side of the building, which is the north elevation. In doing so, it recapitalizes some underutilized spaces that were storage and restrooms that weren't being used. They were actually being used for storage. So that was the first idea. We had an addition that was planned on the front as an airlock and additional space to signal an entry to the building, but we found that was we were already going to exceed the budget with what we were doing, so we did kind of midstream in the design development phase take that off and try to rework that into the existing footprint of the building. So as you can see on the right side of your page, that will be the new entrance with the lobby that services the local history room, which will be moved from the second floor to the first floor, and then a meeting room which can be used by the community, not just during library hours but after hours as well, which was a big concern from the library board. And of course also we'll upgrade the flooring and paint and other finishes, as well as the bathrooms and break areas. We also wanted to improve the safety of the facility, especially in the children's area. There was only one exit present, and it was right onto a right-of-way at the drive-through where where cars pull through to get books all the time. So we've softened that area so that a gathering area could happen outside of that if there was an emergency, as well as created another exit in sort of a dead-end area on the bottom left of the plan there that you see. So in early 2024, we brought our engineers on board and move forward with the permit drawings that we bid, as Hank said, in September. And we are here tonight to ask that you would award that to Dyer Construction in the amount of $1,382,375. So I'll be glad to entertain any questions that you might have about the project or the process.
One of the things I hope you realize in the course of what Will said and what I shared is the one-time payout will be $550,000, which is actually a little more than we needed, so we got us some contingency with the capital improvement money. So.
And with every project, there are soft costs that are not the construction budget, such as moving, relocation, and those sorts of things, technology.
Any questions for Will?
When would you start?
They're ready to start as soon as they can. They've been holding their price since September, so they're ready to get moving. It would be a function of when the library services could be moved to the temporary location.
And the temporary location would be
The annex. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at some other options. None of those really panned out, but they are very much aware that space accommodations will have to be created during the election in November. And any other elections that might be held between now and then, if there are any other elections. So they know that they're going to need to work within those parameters. So they also know that they're going to need to work within the parameters of being a little quieter from Miss Hewley over there. So. Will, thank you for coming over tonight. Appreciate
your time.
So,
Yeah. Like moving the entrance.
yeah, that's always been an
It's it off
interesting
that
part to
sidewalk
me
and
that
and
you
the
know the
roadway
entrance was
and-
not on
yeah.
not on the parking lot.
Yeah.
So, I will tell you, I sat in enough of the meetings to know that Will really had to sharpen his pencil to move that entrance to the front because of the way the building is currently laid out, and really the only way it can be laid out, even with the changes. So if I'm remembering right, Will, I don't think the door will actually be in the center of the building because it could not be, but it'll be fairly close. So. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I like the airlock too. Yep.
Nice.
And Mayor, unless there are questions for me, that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we do not have any old business for tonight. So we will now consider the new business, which is part of the agenda, and I'll ask the clerk to read, ordinance -2501-01 by caption as a first read.
This ordinance is to conduct a public hearing of an ordinance amending the Land Development Code to allow for special use located at 1830 North Columbia Street. This property is currently owned by Min Kang and is zoned community commercial. The applicant, Kareem Ali, desires a special use for a convenience store and a gas station.
Thank you. This is the first read of the ordinance, and I am referring it to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I will ask the clerk to read ordinance O-2501-02 by caption as a first read.
This ordinance is to conduct a public hearing of an ordinance amending the Land Development Code to allow for special use located at 196 Robertson Mill Road. This property is currently owned by Patel J. Kirshina and is zoned community commercial. The applicant desires special use to add 2 gas pumps with a canopy at the existing convenience store.
All right, this is also the first read of this ordinance, and I am referring it to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. I'll ask the clerk to read Resolution R-2501-01
Thanks.
by caption.
A resolution to authorize a contract with Georgia Safe Sidewalks for sidewalk trip hazard mitigation and Americans with Disabilities Act compliance on portions of sidewalk throughout the city of Milledgeville.
All right, you all have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mrs. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp,
Resolution is adopted. As shared in Mr. Griffin's report, the intergovernmental agreement between the city, the county, and the library system needs to be amended, and this resolution accomplishes that. I will ask the clerk to read Resolution R-2501-02 by caption.
a resolution authorizing the First Amendment to intergovernmental agreement for operation services and funding of library services.
You all have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mrs. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp,
Aye.
All right, the resolution is approved. I will ask the clerk to read Resolution R-2501-03 by caption.
a resolution to authorize a construction agreement with Dyer Construction, Inc. to make renovations to the Mary Benson Memorial Library.
You all have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mrs. Walden, Ms. Mapp,
Aye.
And the resolution is approved. I'll ask the clerk to read Resolution R-2501-04 by caption.
a resolution to authorize an agreement between the City of Milledgeville and Old Phoenix Center LLC for the purchase of real property.
You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mrs. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Mapp,
Aye.
The resolution is approved. There are no appointments to make tonight. However, council, I want to bring up the Mayor Pro Tem appointment, which is yours to approve as a council. Mr. Griffin and I suggested that Ms. Shinholster remain in that position due to this being our election year, and the fact that we have to change out bank cards every time we have a new Mayor Pro Tem. Ms. Shinholster has agreed to remain in that position, but as I stated, that is your decision to make, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention tonight. Is there a need to go into closed session?
No, ma'am.
So we don't have a need to go into closed session tonight. This concludes the items on the agenda. Does anyone on council have any questions or comments?
Got one comment. I just want everybody to continue to keep the people in Los Angeles, California in their prayers, as well as the people that are in northwestern North Carolina that are still in tents and still having a tough time of it. And we think a lot about how tough a life we have from time to time, and we don't know anything compared to what a lot of these people are going through.
Amen.
That's right.
Hope that things will calm down quickly in California.
Mayor, if I could, let me just confirm that everybody's good for a call work session on the 21st and go into the regional commission on the 22nd. Okay, good.
I'm on the 22nd.
We'll be from 3 to 5 over there. So 5:30 for the call work session on the 21st.
Okay.
And then, of course, most of us will then on Thursday be going to Cities United.
Busy week.
Busy. Thank you.
You
Ms.
said you're gonna have the work sessions January and February.
if possible, we can talk about the February ones this coming Tuesday night, on the 21st, just to confirm that everybody's good with those. But, I just wanted to get the one on the 21st so Courtney can send out the announcement about it in the morning, so. I've got to sharpen my pencil between now and then and try to figure out some districts on this, some tracks to move on this redistricting.
He left. I think Mr. Ressing left, and I really did have some questions for him. Does anybody have a way to get in contact with him?
I'll share your his
Okay.
contact with you.
Thank you.
And I have an email address for him as well, so.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. That's what having a long-standing council, they can pick you up when you forget something. Thank you for that. So there being no other questions or concern, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mrs. Walden, Ms. Mapp.
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned.